you can make it at 30, you can make it at 40, you can make it at
Right.
50. I mean, there's a lot of guys who found success later in life doing stand up because it's one of those things that, you speak to to the audience, and if you have something to say that's viable no matter what age you are, humor is that thing that kind of binds us, all together.
Yo,
Yeah.
Dom, over here. Hey,
Bye.
Dom, hey.
Yo, Dom.
First of all, nice. Thank you to come back.
I'm always happy to be here, Dominic. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I just that you came back twice, and I owe you now. I wish I didn't owe you because I feel like it's almost suffocating. But that's the price we pay. Now, let me tell you some of my early stuff. I did Rodney Dangerfield special in 1987. Killed. You got anything you want to throw at me?
I heard you on the Tonight Show once or twice too, right?
A piece of cake. I'll eat that shit for breakfast. Because I'm good, baby. I'm rock and rolling. How you doing, man?
I'm good. We're missing Steve tonight. He said he just doesn't want to do the show anymore, so he's out.
Who said that?
Steve.
Oh, Steve, the little fat kid?
Yeah.
Fuck, we don't need him. I don't even know who. I thought
yeah, he called me and said he doesn't like your material anymore, and he said he's
Oh, he's a great. Yeah.
That was it. But yeah, Ruben, thanks for joining us again.
Always happy to be here with my friend Dominic
John Joseph Irrera. His show, by the way, is two Tuesdays at the Laugh Factory is probably the best show in town. Best show for your money. Well, it's true, isn't it? I mean, who's better than that show? Me and you are included.
I don't think it's a better show, Dom. Because I try to put together a show that with all our buddies. You know what I mean? Like the best guys around, and have it more of a hang than anything. Working with your peers.
That's a good way of putting it because they don't act. There's no tension there.
No, not at all. No egos, and it's just everyone is fun and supportive. So that's kind of was allowed me to keep doing it this long. It's been 6 years, Dom. Can you believe that? This year makes 6 years.
She's 6 years. I would think I would have been invited to more shows. That's weird. Just drifting off.
I mean,
you figure all those times.
It's either you or Johnny Sanchez. So I mean,
oh, he's shorter than me.
Yeah.
What made you start doing that show on Tuesday nights?
Well, one day it was, I think it was a Saturday night. I got off stage, and Jamie Masada, the owner of the Laugh Factory.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Do you have that there?
Yeah, buddy. Listen, buddy. I think you need to get your name out there. You're too good. More people should know about you. You should do your own show. And I was hesitant on doing it, one, because I had never done a show before, and it wasn't really something I was looking to do, but he just told me to think about it, and I went home, I thought about it, had conversations with a few of my close friends, Russell Peters, a couple other people, and they're like, you should do it, man, and I just told Jamie I want it to be a diverse lineup, and I want it to be, my guys. This isn't an amateur show. This isn't a show to quote unquote break people. It's for me to work with my buddies, and first to have a place where we know we can try out material and be creative and bust each other's balls from on and off stage,
We had fun, and we missed you this year in Montreal. It was great.
I know, man. I know. I was bummed that I missed it, but I heard it was great.
Well, he's so fucking goofy. I mean, I saw him. He was doing this. No way they're going to put this on the air. But he's spitting in his hand and jerking me off.
Right? He did.
As the credits are rolling. Well, where the fuck are we going to use this? What are you fucking nuts?
That's Russell. That's definitely Russell.
I'm going for this the last time, then we'll go at me, right, baby?
Yeah.
See, he sets hesitance to president because he like has such a no attitude feel about him It ain't like somebody be quiet. He's coming. And boss is coming. He don't give a fuck. You know.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. The thing that's great about Russell from Montreal is, it's one of those festivals that used to ignore him, and then he became hugely successful. And in the back of his mind, he's never let them forget that.
He's got a little bit of the Italian Guinea stuff. I never forget.
And he never forgets, So, and that's what keeps him with such a easygoing. He doesn't look at it as a big deal, and it's great. He's the reason why I went to Montreal for the first time. Yeah, he got me through the door. I said Russell was part of the reason why I did Montreal for the first time.
When did you go up there for the first time? What year was it?
Oh man, maybe 2014 or 15 or something like that. And everybody tried. I should have just called Dom and asked him, but Alonzo Bowden tried to get me to go down there. Godfrey tried to get me to go down there, and then one day Russell was like, "You've never done Montreal?" And I go, "No." And then he's like, "I'll call you right back."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This thing here was fun. I might have told you this out loud, but we're coming out of this restaurant we ate at, and the guys are all talking about writing parts, for the Montreal, and he said, "What about you?" It's about Montreal. He says, "You're going to do anything?" He said, I don't know." He goes, "Do you want to do a show?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, well, you got it." So we don't have to. So we don't have to do anything. No dancing for the old guys or whatever. He goes, "I'm one of them. I'm a boss now. I'm a boss. I can do whatever I want." He starts like, "Yes, there's nobody else you got to call. This is
it. I'm the gatekeeper."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you forget that, like he's the guy who makes so much fucking money for anybody. So everybody loves you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you can tell when you bring people up that you're having fun, that you're up there, like, excuse me, like you're leaving a party for 20 minutes so the guy can, sometimes, you're looking at it downstairs for they know the good, that whoever it is going to be a strong act.
Yeah. And one thing that I think my Dom could attest to this. I think my favorite thing about Montreal is hanging at the bars after shows, hanging at the bar inside the hotel, and it's just all your friends that you never really get to see year round, and we're all hanging in a bar and drinking and talking shit and telling stories. It's a great time. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, I guess it's probably pretty rare when you're on the road to really like run into your friends, unless they're in the same city the same weekend, right? And that I mean, that probably doesn't happen all that often, right?
No, you know what it's like, Dom? To me, it's like the Major League All-Star game. You know what I mean? Like everybody comes.
Yeah. They're in the one city at the same time.
Yeah,
everybody's in the one.
They're all headliners.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a big money thing to get everybody to go to the same thing for a fucking week,
Right.
Yeah. I think I have a photo of, just so many times, the year Ralphie May was there, it was like me, Ralphie, Dom, Lonnie Love, Russell. You get these crazy pictures of everybody in one photo that you would normally never see in one room together unless it's a special event like this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Johnny Diaz, he doesn't go up there.
Joey Diaz, you know what? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Rogan is a Montreal guy either. Is he?
Yeah, I met him in Montreal.
Yeah, but he doesn't like go every year or anything like that.
Oh no, not anymore.
Yeah.
He's too bald for us now. He didn't tell me. I never told anybody this, but Joe was picking me up to go to shoe pool, and he came back and he's bald, so fucking really bald. It was a little scary. He looked like a killer or something, And I never said anything because what do you say when, like I told what's his name, Bill Burr.
Yeah.
He looked like a fucking meat, some kind of insect. Like his tiny little head, and because he says to me when he goes, "Lay into me, will you?" Because things are really happening.
Yeah.
Everybody's around him; they're getting stuff, and he's getting stuff. And I said, look at you, you fucking like a white trash little fucking thing. And he goes, okay, that's good. I feel good. Thank you. I needed
that. Yeah, he's the first time I met Rogan. I was doing a gig in San Diego. I was opening up for Jimmy Schubert.
And I love Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy is the best. And I had maybe been doing comedy like 2 or 3 years, and I've never met Schubert before. And he was just very cool. And he was like, "What are you doing after the show?" And I go, I don't know. And he goes, "Come with me." And we drove to the La Jolla Comedy Store, and Rogan was there. And that's the first time I had met Rogan. And we hung out the whole night, and I don't even remember the end of the night. It was one of those nights.
I think it was Schubert was telling us a story where he was like with Sam Kinison. They like rode a motorcycle or something like that into the Comedy Store. Do you remember that, Dom? Was it? I think it was Jimmy telling us that story.
Well, Jimmy used to be a part of the what do they used to call them? The Outlaws.
Yeah. I think that was it. Yeah.
She was a part of that. So yeah, he used to tell Kinnison stories and everything. But Rogan and Schubert were guys that were always nice to me coming up, and then meeting Dom later on was awesome too. So I've been very fortunate to meet good people in this business.
Yeah, and you started doing comedy in LA, right? Because isn't that where you grew up around there?
Yeah, born and raised. I started doing comedy in LA. Place that I really honed my skills was at the Comedy Act Theater off of Crenshaw on 43rd Street. It was owned by Michael Williams. I think it was the first black-owned comedy club in the country.
Wow, really?
And Robin Harris was his house MC. I mean, Robin had passed before I started doing comedy, but that's kind of the foundation of that club. So any black comic from Robert Townsend to Damon Wayans to Martin Lawrence to D.L. Hughley, Joe Torre, Bernie Mac, they all worked that Comedy Act Theater. Jamie Foxx, the list goes on and on.
That's a lot of talent. Wow,
a lot of talent came through there. Yeah, a lot.
Bernie Mac was great, man. I love Bernie Mac.
Yeah, I remember that's the first time I had ever seen him, because whenever black comics would come to LA, they would always come through the Comedy Act Theater. It was ran like a showcase room. Meaning, they put 6 comics up on a night.
Yeah, I love showcase shows like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so that's the first time I'd seen him. I pretty much saw everybody there. First time I saw Chappelle was at the Comedy Act Theater live. First time I'd seen him live was there.
Right.
So that's where I came up. Chris Tucker, like everybody came through there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I was one of the hottest acts there for a long time. I was just, those guys that make everything come back to them.
Yeah, I know.
No matter how you steer it, boom. Another.
Well, yeah, people always. One thing about comics, they can always steer the conversation back to them. It could be somebody could pass away and go, "Oh man, rest in peace, Paul Rubens, man. I remember how funny he told me I was when he saw my set." It's like, really, dude? Just say rest in peace, not how great he said you were when he was alive.
There was a guy there that was destined for stardom, and he said he got killed somehow. But I'm trying to think of, but he's like he would be the killer. And like one of those all black shows, he'd be the last line. So give me a name.
Of somebody who passed away recently?
No, 2 years ago, 3 years.
He
used to come into the Comedy Store. He'd been the killer act of that group.
Oh my gosh, who? Yeah, somebody did pass away recently. It's been so many, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who.
I'll think about it as soon as I get it. I'll call you on the air.
Well, make sure you call me during, because I spend a lot of time with my footwear. So
Teddy Ray.
It's amazing. If you ever need good foot, like a nice sandal or something, coolest
Wait,
man.
wait a minute. Did you Google black comics who died?
Yeah, Teddy Ray. Is it Teddy Ray?
It wasn't Teddy Ray, but Teddy Ray
No.
was great. I love
Yeah.
Teddy Ray,
Yeah. I was just
man.
trying to see LA, black LA comic passed
Or
passed
just
away in the last year
I'm
or two. Jack
there
Knight.
were he was younger. Rest in
No.
peace, Jack Knight. Oh my, so
Yeah.
tragic. Both Teddy and Jack passing away was really really tough. You knew Jack and Teddy, Dom. Well, I
Yeah,
definitely know you knew Jack Knight, but rest in peace, Jack. I'm trying to think who. I know you're talking about Dom. It's just I can't.
he's older. He's a little older than the rest of the guys were.
Hmm. Um. Yeah, I don't want
That's
to
all
start
right.
naming people who are like. I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
Do you know where they were from? What city they were from, Dom?
No, I don't know why I brought it up because I'm fucking ridiculously ill prepared.
Yeah. Thanks for all the context. Yeah.
But I remember Rogan coming up to me. I was doing this thing about date rape and regular rape.
Uh-huh.
You know, at least it then date rape be like a nice cup of coffee after where it was, regular rape was just grabbing a girl, push her behind the bars and just beating it. It's horrible.
It's a horrible premise, but hilarious.
He goes, that's the regular rape. That's funny. You don't let regular. Don't leave it. And he's right. That one little key word. Would you
Regular.
rather, if you're gonna get raped? Would you? I mean, it's so fucking mean, but regular rape sounds funny.
You know,
I'm running
because
the.
could you imagine like doing those bits now? Everyone is so overly sensitive for a reason. I mean, we understand, but at the same time, our job is to take sometimes the worst things in life that we go
Mhm.
through, that people go through, and try to, add some levity and perspective to it, because there are a lot of people who have, survived it,
Yeah,
and gone on and lived great lives. So, but yeah, people get butt hurt off of rape jokes.
I've been doing that. They said it earlier. Russell was saying that the cheat. Everybody dug that. It was about it's too much people judging each other. It's so much bullshit. It's like, you know, you can't even say for a retard. Well, yeah, who told you that? The little jicky to jerk off gay fag. Whatever it is. Just
Whatever,
makes
yeah, whatever the slur is.
little faggot
Yeah,
Tony. He said
it's
the
but everyone is so and I get it, because sometimes people are just offensive for the sake of being offensive with no
oh
real
yeah.
point to it.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of great comics who are masterful of taking tough, hard, topics, and
Hmm.
being able to find humor in it. And it's to each his own. Like, everybody's not gonna like everything that you do, no matter what comic you are, whether you're
Right.
squeaky clean and just do observational stuff, or
Hmm.
you have dark humor. I mean, look at Jeselnik, somebody who's great at really great at dark humor. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
He's really great at it.
Who are some comics you like to watch? Like, you like
Um,
watch like now?
up and coming, or just
Yeah, either or.
comedy.
Yeah, either
I
or.
just I just love I love comedy, and I love comics.
Hmm.
So, any of my peers, because especially when you don't see each other for a long time, you always kind of want to get a sense of like what they're working on now, or what's
Oh
new,
yeah, yeah,
what are
yeah,
the new bits. And it's great to see Dom or whoever and go, yeah, I've never heard that one before. It's like, oh yeah, I just started working on that
yeah.
pieces. So
Hmm.
it's more of a for me, of a workshop type of thing, where you see that comics are continually working the craft, where they've been doing it for 30 years or 15 years or 20 years, that they're work. That's what I appreciate about the art form, is
Ed,
people constantly evolving.
What are you gonna
What's
say,
up,
Edwards,
Dom?
Dom?
Edwards, I think, is one of the best.
Ian
Ian
Edwards.
Edwards? Oh, he's
Yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
his
Yeah.
writing is fucking flawless. And
Yeah.
he could follow anything. I saw him after Crazy Soul Shake or whatever the different words for, and they're fucking dancing, and then he goes up just all together, and boom, he got him in like
Hmm.
2 lines. It's amazing.
Yeah, Ian is great, but he's one of those guys where he's always going to have something new, always
Mhm.
something fresh. He's always working, and that's one thing that I appreciate. And that's one of the other benefits of doing a show Tuesday night, where I can think of, you think of these premises all week, and then it's like,
Right.
okay, I have a place where I can throw it out there, see what works, and I'm hosting, so if it doesn't work, I just bring the next person
Yeah,
right up. You just keep it going.
remember his slavery bit?
Oh yes,
Oh,
refinancing.
yeah. So
Refinancing.
Yeah,
fucking brilliant.
yeah. It's we can't even do it justice,
Yeah,
but
whose bit is that? Are you talking about Russell or
no,
who?
You
Ian
know,
Edwards.
Oh, Ian
Ian,
Edwards' bit. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ian Edwards is and it's and Ian this and Dom will understand this. Like there's something called parallel thought in comedy where
Right.
people could think of the same thing, but sometimes every once in a while, like I'll stumble, I'll have a bit and Ian would have something familiar. And I remember a long time ago, he was like, "Yo, I had some familiar," and it's cool because he's such a good comic, and go if we're even thinking on the same wavelength, then I'm doing something right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's
Uh,
cool. That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
how about the thing he has about having an ugly daughter?
uh
So,
huh,
if she says she got raped, he goes, "No, you didn't, Daddy. I
yeah,
got raped today. No, you."
yeah, man. Yeah, he's great. There's a lot of good comics out there. I mean, people
Mhm.
always want to harp on there's been a lot of bad comics out there, which is true, but there are still a lot of great comics working and honing their craft and have their own voice and doing their thing. So
And then
yeah,
people are getting at it all different ways now. Before you had the edition here, you got you go to late night, and then now it's like remember that kid we had a couple of weeks ago? He never even did comedy clubs for a
Yeah.
while.
Anthony Rodia. Yeah. He never.
mm,
He never. And that
Everything's on the
that guy Nicky Smiggs was like that too. Dom.
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, the art form is the art form. It's not going to change, and a lot of people are becoming,
Hmm.
famous, before they're good. But that's just the era that we're in now.
Yeah. It's not a good spot to be in though. You never want to get it before you're ready. you know.
But they're bringing in their own fans, so a lot of
Right.
times they don't know any better.
Right. Yeah. That's
But
true.
but I think because it's all in what you compare it to, and I think
Hmm.
a lot of times when you have these guys who don't have a lot of experience, they bring their own audience. But if you put a Ian Edwards on the show, if you put a Tony Rock on the show, if you put a
Right.
Dom on the show, or somebody who's a professional comic, then the audiences have something to compare it to, and they go,
Right. Yeah.
"Oh, wait a minute, those
Yeah.
guys that's different what they were doing."
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
it's much
Uh-huh.
more polished, and I've seen that. I've seen it happen, but to each his own, man. It's hard to make a living doing what you love, so I don't begrudge anybody doing that. At the end of the day, you just wish they would respect the art form. But at the end of the day, comedy's going to make you respect respect it at
Yeah.
all. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I bet, I mean, because it's still kind of new, like a lot of this stuff with, internet podcasts, people doing like videos on the phone. I wonder if it's going to kind of like level out in like a little bit of time where that like kind of, because like the virality and how like quickly people used to just like grow online has kind of tapered down too. It's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
it's not like the golden age like it was, 2 or 3 years ago, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, I just think I don't know. It's interesting. I think everything kind of evolves, and I think things are cyclical. They come in
Right.
cycles, but we're in 2023, and times have changed. But one thing that hasn't changed is um,
I have my
when you're
underwear.
Dom's underwear, and when you're knowledgeable about comedy, you can talk
Right.
about all these. A lot of people that have become famous that do
Mhm.
stand up when they're famous. It's no different. Dom can tell you this when actors,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know,
Yep,
just
that's a really good point. It's a really, really good point.
actors just like, hey, I'm gonna try stand up because they're famous and they're popular and people will come out
Mhm.
and see them. But one thing that's not mistakable is the skill level. Like I
Right.
don't. and Dom will tell you this, like I work with a lot of guys. I've, written for a lot of guys, and I
Mhm.
never judge the act, but you can judge execution, you can judge skill.
Okay.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay.
Whether
Yeah.
whether I think it's funny or not is relative, but that's why I can see a comic that might not make me laugh, but I could still tell that they're highly skilled at what they do.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
when it comes to the craft of stand-up comedy, you could be as famous as you can be, quote unquote, doing stand-up, but when they talk about the greats, you're not going to be mentioned in that list because you're just not
Right.
great at it. You
Right.
can be famous, you can be popular, but you're not. No one's going to be sitting up here talking like we're talking about Ian Edwards.
Right.
Going, "Oh man, that dude wrote this," or whatever comic we throw out there. And there's a
Right.
long list besides Ian. There's a lot of great comics out there. So, um, yeah, I just think you focus on being good, and everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I would definitely. Yeah. I would agree with that for sure.
So
Yeah.
who did you have that's what's the worst act that was there?
I, I would
That
never say the word.
really stink up a room. Really.
I was talking to a buddy of mine. This comics are hilarious. Comics talk more shit than anybody, and I
That's
remember,
true. That's definitely
and
true.
I remember, a comic came up to me wanting to do Rubee Tuesdays, and I mentioned it to another comic. I go, "Hey man, such and such and such wants to do a spot on Rubee Tuesdays. What do you think?" He goes, um. He's probably the worst comic I've ever seen in my life.
Who was it?
A buddy of mine said that about another comic. I can't say the name, but he goes, "He's probably the worst comic I've ever seen in my life." I go, "You've seen a lot of comedians," and he goes, "Yeah, he's probably the worst comic I've ever seen." Oh, so you're telling me not to? So you're telling me not to book him then, right? So
That's
You're not going
yeah,
to
funny.
say who said. You're not going to say it.
no, I can't
Can
say
you
it.
give us
I
some
would.
hints?
You wouldn't even know the comic if I told you, Dom. You wouldn't even know who it was.
Thank
I'll
you.
tell you. I'll tell you off air though. You'd get a kick out of it. I remember Rogan. There was a comic years ago that that Rogan didn't care for, man, and he used to have me howling on the side, like he'd be waiting to go up, and comics would be sitting, hanging, waiting for our turns, man, and he would just have me in tears laughing, man. But
Hmm.
yeah, I remember Kathleen Madigan. She had a joke. We were at the Comedy and Magic Club, and she
Mhm.
goes, "Oh, I'm exhausted. I've been on the phone with comics all day talking shit." Talking bad about other comics. Because when you get on phones with comics, man, that's why, to be honest with you, I try to limit my exposure to that, man. Because
Mhm.
you can get caught up into that negative energy, man. And I just prefer just to, not to be sanctimonious or anything, but
For sure.
sometimes you can go down a rabbit hole trying to figure out why somebody's famous, why is this person that, and it's a waste of time. You could be spending that time on yourself trying to get yourself better than trying to tear somebody else down.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, I kind of starting my career, at least in video production that is, adjacent to comedy. And I spent time trying to figure that kind of stuff out, like what works online for people, some of the, kind of like tricks, so to speak, that people use with like editing or anything like that. And the more and more I think about it, it's just like you got to do something that's good
Yeah,
and that's you, and you just have to
yeah,
keep doing that, and then your fan base will build around it if it's good, and
yeah,
that's just kind of what'll happen. But it's over time, really.
yeah. Well, I think when you see the mentality of older comics
Hmm.
or, or or versus younger comics or influencers is, you know, I think when we were coming up, it was a talent contest. And I think now it's a popularity contest. And there's a difference.
It's a
And
really
I
good
think,
point. Yeah, it's a really
you
good
know,
point.
like
Yeah.
it was a focus on you had to be good.
Hmm.
Now it's you need to be popular. And
Right.
I think when you look at, even when you get try to get older comics to post on social media,
Hmm.
we overanalyze, we overthink everything. Where younger comics are like, dude, it's it's quantity over quality. You put up
Right.
20 videos, all you need is one to go viral. Forget
Right.
all the rest of them.
Yep.
And we're just trying to make every clip perfect and the best it can be. It's like, yo, dude, just put it up there. It's all disposable. Nobody cares about it. Just keep posting. And I admire that because they don't have that same over analytical, over analyzing everything. They just do something. They do it 10 takes or whatever and go, good enough. They'll just throw it because they're going to post 3 or 4 videos a day.
Right.
You
It's
know,
funny.
so
Yeah. I do another podcast with a comedian based out of New York, and I think he's probably like 53 or 54. And it's funny because me and him are always, I'm like, dude, let's just post this. Let's just post this. Let's just post this. And he's like, no, I'm not putting shit out. If it's going to have my name on it, it's going to be good. So it's a good balance though, because it's made me be, kind of better. And then it's also opened his eyes to, what, because it can be construed like selling out, doing a lot of this stuff. And I know a lot of comics don't want to put, material up and stuff like that. So it's like kind of I think especially for older guys, it's a hard thing to kind of get around.
I think you over, like, we overanalyze it, man. And it's one of those things where you do need somebody like you. Like, I just hired somebody to help me because I know I'm not capable of over scrutinizing myself.
Right.
I need somebody to take that responsibility from, like, Ruben, somebody that I trust, that I know is not going to have me out there looking like a fool.
Right.
But like when I talk to these young guys, they're like, dude, that's good enough. Who gives a damn? Just post it. Like, just keep posting stuff, dude. You're putting way too much thought into this, but that's what we came into. Me and Johnny Sanchez were talking about this, Dom. I remember, like, coming up when you would do showcases, the industry was so knowledgeable about comedy.
Right.
They would tell you, like, hey, just so you know, Dom Irrera has a joke like that, or such and such would have a joke like that, and they would call you out. Now, people know that somebody is doing somebody else's act, and they don't care anymore. There's no scrutiny. Like, there was always this pressure of trying to be, original and funny and all these other things, but now the same criteria isn't held. Like, I've seen guys blow up on jokes that I've seen other people do years before.
Right.
Who's the kid that just got like millions of dollars out of nowhere? Good looking kid.
Matt Rife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I always liked Matt. He's a great kid.
Matt is great. Yeah.
What does he do? Does he stand up? I mean, I've seen him on stage.
Yeah. He does stand up. And think about Matt. Matt has been around longer than people think he is because he started so long ago, and he just stayed the course. He stayed the course. He kept working. He kept going up, and it happened for him. And I always say this: there's no statute of limitations on success, and stand-up comedy is a great art form because the older you get, the better you become at it if you work at it. Yep. It's really an adult art form when you think about it. Stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like golf, like that. Like, you just get better as you get older.
Exactly. And I think with comics getting discouraged, it's like, who says you can make it at 30, you can make it at 40, you can make it at 50? I mean, there's a lot of guys who found success later in life doing stand-up because it's one of those things that, you speak to to the audience, and if you have something to say that's viable, no matter what age you are, humor is that thing that kind of binds us, all together.
He did it. He came in. He did the shows a couple of years ago. Excuse me. And he asked me if I would take this one girl's name off. I said, yeah, sure. And then he went to about like 10 names. I said, now we don't even have a show. What am I going to be? He goes, oh, I'm sorry. There was nothing else to say. Everything funny was gone. Everything interesting was gone.
Who was it that made you take the names off, Dom? Somebody you were doing a show with?
No, the people. Well, he did for. I guess he fucked about 3 or 4 girls he didn't want me to know. He was. I don't care. I mean, but
who
was it, Dom? Yeah, who was doing that?
Well, one of them was Barrymore. Did I met Barrymore?
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. I think.
No, who was the comic?
It wasn't her.
Who was the comic?
Oh, Matt.
Oh, Matt Rife.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was. Because he always had a lot of chicks around him. So He fucked them all. Man, the guy. What do you do with them? I fuck them. I just fuck them.
As you should when you're young and handsome and single.
Oh, and gay. Whoops. No, he's not. Somebody
Nah,
said,
but
yeah.
Go ahead, Dom.
No, just the idea that, like, you can't believe that the press all the time. Because somebody said George Clooney was gay. And I go, no, he's not. Oh, yeah, that's what it said. I said, I don't know. It's another fucking guy since we all started out here. I mean, if he's gay, he's a hidden gay. Yeah, but who cares? But why would you bring that up, you know?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
it's like, Ruben. You went
yeah,
through all that.
yeah. Everybody always. It's funny whenever somebody breaks or takes off. Everyone's trying to find the reason why
Yeah.
instead of it just being their time or them being
Right.
talented. There's always a reason. Well, his dad or his brother or his this or his that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's true, but at the end of the day, who gives a damn, man? You make it however you make it. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
your talent justifies it. I wish I had parents that were in the business and that could have opened up doors for me or given me
Right.
opportunities, or somebody could have given me an opportunity to skip in line. But, that wasn't my path or my calling. So I'm just going to keep working my ass off until, I get what I'm going after, what I feel I deserve. You
What
know?
would be your dream to get?
Dom, I would love to do more acting, to do more film and more television.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
that's one thing. Stand up wise, if I could just tour for the rest of my life and be able to make a living doing that, that would be great. Also, I don't think I'll ever stop doing stand up. I know
Yeah.
we say that all the time, but it's just such a release and such a it's just what we've been doing for so long, and still have passion for it. Still get excited when you come up with a new joke. I think when you start doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, maybe that's the sign. Be like, I'm tired of these jokes, and I don't feel like writing anything new. Let me,
Right.
tap out. But yeah, I just love performing. But I was a theater major in college, and I write also. So
what
I
plays were
do.
you in?
I did one of my favorite play that I ever did was a play called Streamers by David Rabe. Um, it was a play that set place the Vietnam War,
Okay.
and yeah, it was great. That was one of my favorite plays, and we ran it at the Hudson Theater on Santa Monica down at Theaters Row, and then I
Mhm.
remember the director got, I think, a couple of the original cast that did it on Broadway
Oh
to
wow.
yeah, to come see it, and they were complimentary and everything. Fraser Smith came to one of the shows, so he's
Oh,
like,
did he? Yeah.
yeah, Fraser's like, you got some chops, buddy. You can really act,
That's
buddy.
cool. I was
Yeah,
in
so
Rosencrantz. Did you ever hear of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead?
absolutely, I've heard of that. Are
I
you
did
kidding me?
that.
Yes,
I did that in college. It was so fucking hard, but it was good. Really, once
wasn't
we
it?
got it down, brilliant writing. Tom Shepard, I
Yeah,
think that was his name.
yeah,
And
that was a classic. But David Rabe also did. Hold on, I'm pulling it up. He did it.
Mm.
He had a play that turned into a movie. Well, Streamers was a movie. Streamers and Hurly Burly.
Hmm.
Hurly Burly. They made that into a feature film also. And who was in Hurly Burly? Hurly Burly was Sean Penn, Kevin Spacey, Robin Wright, Meg Ryan, Anna Paquin, Gary Shandling, and Chaz Palminteri. Think about that
That's a
cast.
lineup. Yeah, that's a
That's
lineup.
a lineup. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. But Streamers was the play that we did, and it was great. I played a character, and they made a movie out of it also. But I played a character named Roger, and but David Allen Greer did it. Matthew Modine, um, a great actor by the name of Michael Wright. It was a great play. Well, that's probably one of my highlights doing that play.
you think that's what you like doing the most, like, or you like live performance or the stuff on film?
Um, I mean, I love stand up, and doing a play was very challenging, and it's the closest thing that you get to stand up with a live audience. You get the reaction
Right.
right then and there. But I just love the process of movie making. It's a different. It's they assemble it. You know what I mean? They take
Yes.
performances and they assemble a project,
Mhm.
which is an art form in itself, putting a film together. Um,
And the teamwork aspect of it too, I think is cool. You know, you need a
it's
good sound
awesome.
guy, you need a good light guy, you need a good camera operator, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
What's where they go? How's it said? Don might know this. They go, theater is the actor's medium, movies is the director's medium, and television is the writer's medium. Like they're the bosses in those
Oh,
Right.
genres.
interesting.
You
So it's
know,
the
in
director in film, writers in television, and then you said the actors in
actors
theater.
in theater are
Right.
like the ones that make it go.
Right. And then stand up, obviously stand up. Yeah. Same thing with the
Exactly.
actors. Huh.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that a long time ago, and I was like, you know what, that does make sense. You know, because sometimes in a movie they won't even have the writers on set. You
Right.
know, they would never do that in television.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so
When I was a kid, the big time artists never did. They would never do commercials or any of that. It's all changed now. Like now, the real art is on like Showtime and HBO, and the
Mhm.
goofy fucking those blockbusters, the $1 billion ones with spider crooks out or starts going up the building and all that shit. It's
hmm
amazing because I remember Charlton
hey,
Heston did what's that?
Charlton Heston.
uh,
Charlton Heston.
Dom's pulling stuff up from the 30s.
No, but you know the reason that everybody knows him because the Ten Commandments is shown every year.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
absolutely.
10-year-olds. I was doing that. Yeah, I remember talking. See what you made. I was doing that like in just in the improv last week, and I said this is an impersonation everybody can do. And I said, like, you can do it, right? And she went, yeah, see? And everybody was so fucking. I said, listen, when I leave, I don't no clapping, no, just go, that guy was good, ma. See? It was so fucking funny.
Hey Dom, I know what I
Yeah.
wanted to. I know what I wanted to ask you. For as long as you've been around, what do you think has happened to theatrical comedy, like like straight comedy movies that were released in theaters? It just seems like they become less and less and less and less as the years have gone on, but comedy has still been hugely successful. I mean, you had like Judd Apatow had his pops with,
Mhm.
like he had a big pop when he did 40-year-old virgins, and then you had, the Hangover was a
Mhm.
popular comedy, but it just seems like in the 80s and even in the 70s, there were just so many comedy movies being
Well,
made that,
Young Frankenstein and all those movies. And,
yeah, Monty
Yeah.
obviously,
Python
Cheech and
and
Chong too.
Cheech and,
Blazing Saddles. Bla-
man,
what I didn't hear the beginning.
I said Blazing Saddles, like you said, and
Oh,
what was
they would never greenlight Blazing Saddle now.
I know.
Like me and Russell always do that. Don't say the N word. We would go, nah, 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 nah.
Yeah, and Pryor wrote a lot of Blazing
Yeah, that was
Saddles
supposed to be
books.
him, Levon Little's part. But
And even thinking about Caddyshack, how
Right.
funny Caddyshack
yeah,
was, man. And Sandler had his little era where he had some movies, but you just never see that many
Yeah, I feel like it
comedies.
was like
yeah,
in the mid to late 2000s, like Superbad, 40-Year-Old Virgin, like those are the movies on the end of that. I
Hmm.
feel like Ted, I mean that might have came out a little bit later. That was pretty good with Mark Wahlberg. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Ted.
But why do you think that there's less of those movies being made when it seems like comedy and comedians have been hugely successful, selling out arenas all over the world, but yet not a lot of them have released. There's not a lot of
Right.
great comedies that have been released. It's always curious to me why.
yeah. That's hard to explain. I mean, I think that just of its time, like the Woody Allen movies, Richard Pryor, they were like more acting, more. I mean, everything goes towards the big money maker now. It's a different world in that sense, you know.
I
Like I was
mean,
thinking
you
about,
go ahead.
I was just thinking about all the comedians that have done Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
that was like a really rare thing. It was Steve, what's his name?
Steve
Steve
Martin, or
Martin.
yeah,
Steve Martin, and
yep,
all those guys. Now a guy could get, like we said before, a guy can get the Madison Square Garden, not even doing stand up at clubs, but have $5 million following him.
right,
So
Hmm.
it's
yeah.
not really,
Do you
but
think? I mean, my guess would be is like the production companies and the studios are like afraid of putting out some of that stuff, because I mean, you look at all those movies, like those like big comedy movies, they play on tropes that you can't really make a lot of those like jokes
I,
anymore, you know?
yeah,
Like,
I mean, but even a movie like Airplane, you
yeah,
know,
okay,
that's
yeah.
true. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
it's just so damn funny, man. And a movie that kind of changed my life that Dom was in was Hollywood Shuffle. You know,
Oh,
Robert
yeah. Okay.
Townsend's movie.
Mhm.
Oh, we had
And
so much fun making that.
oh man, and Dom, I remember with going to see that with my friend. I hadn't even started doing stand up yet. I don't believe when that movie came out, and just being totally no, no, I definitely hadn't done stand up during at that time, and just
Mhm.
going to that theater and just being blown away, laughing out loud at that movie, or even the Eddie Murphy movies like Trading Places is laugh
Yeah.
out loud funny. One of my favorite movies, and I don't know. There was just so many great comedies, and it just seems like there's a void with comedy movies. Look at what
Uh,
Eddie Murphy built a career with. The action
Yep.
comedies. With Beverly Hills Cop and 48 Hours, and then he went to the Nutty Professor, and then Coming to America. It just doesn't. I just wish that comedies would come. Make a comeback. But maybe it's to the point that you said. Like, remember, what's the American Pie?
Yeah, all those are
Yeah,
great. Same thing with like Road Trip. Road Trip was a great movie.
yeah,
Even Meet the Parents too, like with Ben Stiller. Like
yeah.
those are like, I mean, they had storylines too, but I mean, it's
Well,
just a pure
when
comedy movie.
yeah, and what's the one that they did with the famous one where Cameron Diaz had it was a scene where she had semen in her hair, she had cum in her hair, and
Oh,
it was
I
it was the
hate
fair
that.
the Fairly the Fairley Brothers movie. It was the Fairley Brothers movie. What was that movie? I think wasn't Stiller in that movie, but
Something About Mary.
yeah, something about Mary.
Something About
Yes,
Mary. Yeah, that was great too. Yeah.
and that classic scene that was in there. Um, Sandler had his era of silly, funny comedies.
Yeah, I think I heard Tarantino doing an interview maybe like a couple weeks ago. I saw it online, and he was kind of saying that he thinks film, at least the movie industry, is kind of dead in the sense that like when a big movie used to come out, people would just be talking about it like everywhere, and because people would be going out to see it. You'd be, walking, in the city, there'd be movie posters, lines at the, door, and there'd be like chatter about it. But when a movie gets
Yeah.
released on like Netflix or Amazon, like no one's talking about it. It's just there when you skip through it,
You know what it is? It's the accessibility.
Right.
That a film wasn't as accessible as it was years ago. Like now, if you know it's on Netflix or Amazon or whatever, it's always going to be there. You'll get to it when you get to it. I mean, there
Exactly.
was a time where people used to camp out in front of movie theaters
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and sleep on the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Yep.
When the Star Wars movies used to come out, man,
Yeah.
there'd be lines and you'd be fight because they just weren't accessible. Now a movie comes out and it's going to be streaming in a month or two,
Hmm.
so there's no hurry to come see it. So things have just changed, and I think it takes away from the hype of it.
Yeah.
So it's hard for things. Even when something goes viral, it only goes viral for about a week, and then it's
Right.
on
And
to
then
the
it's
next thing.
right. Then it's over with. Yep.
Then it's over with. So I don't know how we get that back when it's just too everything is just so accessible. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I just know as artists, we just have to keep creating the best possible product that we can. And, you know, the old saying, the cream of the crop always rises to the top eventually.
Yeah. Yep. I believe that for
Yeah.
sure.
So.
That's bullshit.
Sticky,
My
sticky,
friend,
sticky, sticky,
stick him
sticky, sticky,
stick
sticky,
musty.
sticky. That's my favorite thing of Dom. I just sometimes I'll be walking around the house by myself going sticky, 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 sticky. Hey, one of the
God
best.
bless you.
Oh
What's
man, I
that?
love you, Dom. One of the best things about comedy, we're talking about what we miss in comics that
Uh-huh.
we like, is it's just sometimes a bit will just come to your mind at the random moments. And I remember getting a text from Dane Cook years ago. He's like, "Hey man, I was just driving down the street, and he quoted one of my. He just sent me in a text. A joke of mine popped into his head, and then he goes, "That's when you know it's a really good joke that years later just randomly
Mhm.
pops into my head, and I'm saying that out loud." He's like, "Great bit, man," and just a random text, and I could do that with so many of my friends or comics that I like, that you just kind of. I still quote Richard Pryor stuff. How you doing, Officer Timpson? It's just it's just stuff that pops into your head that kind of resonates with you. But with Dom, I'll be walking around the house going stinky, 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 stinky my face. I like to think Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I mean, just classic, classic, classic stuff, man.
We were thinking about trying to write the Ten Commandments. But this was the Last Supper, and like Jesus coming in late, the Last Supper. Hey guys, sorry, can I still get eggs? Like just the stupidest things. We got the fucking giggles over that, and that's the kind of thing. You're having fun. And you got to try that on the public, because to you and your friend sitting there watching something, maybe the funniest fucking thing, crying. Then you plan for somebody else to go, what is this? It's stupid. And one time I did that, trying to do that bit, and nobody knew what the Last Supper was. So that kind of ruined it.
It's so true, man. Making a comic laugh is one of the best feelings in the world. Sometimes to comics, it's more gratifying to make a comic laugh than it is the audience sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Just to hear one of your peers in the back, just dying laughing, because we've heard everything, so it's always great. But I'm one of the few. I just love good comedy. So I root for people, and I love to see comics kill and do well. I've never been a hater in that aspect, or in any
That's good.
aspect. I'm not a hater in general.
Well, you hate a lot of people.
I don't. It's one of those things, man, that's exhausting. So I just stay away.
That's good.
So what comedian have you had the most trouble with that you couldn't put on, but they asked you to keep going on?
Oh my God, Dom, the list is long, and you can't be honest with anybody. It's People make it hard for you to be honest with them, because then you're trying to hate on them, and it's like, no, dude, like there's levels to this thing, and sometimes you just ask them, like, who would I take off of this lineup for you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who would I, who like, who am I good? Like, these are the best of the best that are doing it, So
Yeah.
I try to get new guys on when I can, but I still have somebody that I have to answer to,
Right. Yeah, and
So
you're also trying to put on a good show. You've got the obligation of that too.
absolutely, and don't get me wrong, I do try. I mean, yeah, it's a show for our peers, but I love finding new people who are great and are
Right.
funny, and to be able to give them an opportunity. But it's all timing,
Well, you could lose a
and
lot of friends. You
yeah.
lose a lot of friends having a show like that, because everybody wants to get on it.
Yeah,
Fuck you,
and
said.
and
Yeah.
and a lot of people have been upset. But the thing that's the irony of it is, there's some people who are mad at me
Mm-hmm.
for not doing the show, who have never once booked me on anything. It's like the
Yeah. Right.
level of entitlement to, it's like, dude, we've never even had a phone conversation. We've never hung
Yeah.
out, but for some reason you feel entitled to get on the show, and you have never once called and asked me to do anything in the 20 years we've known each other.
Or even
So
asked to see how you were doing. You know? Yeah, I get that. It's like, yo, we work together. We're not friends though.
friends,
You call me for
yeah.
business stuff.
That's that. Do you even know when my birthday is? Like
Yeah.
you know nothing about me, but
Yeah.
yet you feel this entitlement, and I get it. I get what it's hard to get stage time in LA.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So I'm sensitive to that, but it's like
Right.
I only have so many spots a week where I can put people up, and
Mhm.
then somebody like a Russell Peters calls me, or I call him, and it's like, yo, who do you have? What am I supposed to say? Hey, Russell, I got to put up this open micer. I can't put you on. Like, come on, man. It is. What am I supposed to do in
Yeah.
situations like that? I'm just trying to put the best show
Mhm.
possible, and I'll slide people on when I can. And trust me, when somebody grinds and works hard, and if there's a spot available, I would love to put them on. But I only have so many spots, a week that I can put up.
Yeah.
Me personally, I just try not to take it personal because I've been on the other side of trying to get on shows. And the only thing that I tell myself is when I get the opportunity, I'm going to show them why they should have booked me before.
Right.
That's all you can do,
Mm-hmm.
to show that you're worthy of the booking. So
I've never seen you totally to commit to anything.
you said what?
I'm kidding. I'm just trying to make a joke. I've never seen you. I've never seen you cooperate with anybody. I've never seen you do anything good. Anyway, yeah, I'll try and get you on.
To tell them
Jamie.
that.
Yeah, right.
Jamie said he's never seen you do anything good, but I'll try to get you on.
It was Christmas time, and Jamie, this guy's going, "You're going to get me a spot this year?" And Jamie goes, "No." See, they didn't fuck around. Well, how come? Because you stink. You don't. But how do they argue that? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't stink that much. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it breaks their heart because that's the one thing people never tell them is the truth.
Yeah.
No one ever tells them the truth, and I think when I was coming up, you would get feedback. The owner would tell you like, "Hey, you're not ready yet. Keep working."
Mhm.
They would tell you what they liked and what they didn't like, and it gave you something to work towards, to aspire to. And now everybody thinks, "Oh man, I kill. I do this. I do that," and it's like, maybe your definition is killing than our is
Yeah,
different
right.
than the definition we have. Because sometimes you'll see people and they'll come off and say that they killed, and you literally watch the set and go, that wasn't close to killing. But what can you say? Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, but anyway.
I had a thing in Philly one time. Guy had the owner's paying us, and he said to the guy, "How was the show?" He goes, "They were very tentative." I said, "What the fuck kind of way is that an answer about it? It's supposed to be funny."
Yeah.
They listened.
They seemed to. They looked at me the whole time I was up there, just a dead stare. Where the fuck does this come from? But I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, you got to, even if you have to lie, say you don't say they're attentive.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't started this to end the show.
That's how you got to finish strong, Dom.
All right.
So what?
Stinky, what a pussy. I couldn't tell the asshole from the pussy hole. God bless you.
So where will you two fine gentlemen be performing in the next few weeks?
Well, I have my show every Tuesday night at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, and then this weekend, July the 26th. No, I'm sorry, August.
August
Whoa,
26th. Yeah, August 26th.
August 26th. That's Saturday, correct? August
Yeah.
26th
Yep.
is Saturday. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll be playing the Greek Theater with George Lopez this Saturday.
Beautiful, nice.
Yeah, so that it's exciting to be a part of that. And then Friday, I'm with him in Stockton, California at the Bob Hope Theater. So that's
Cool.
what I got coming up.
Beautiful.
He's a great comedian.
Yeah, he loves you, Dom. George loves you. Yeah.
I really liked this show too when it was on. That came out when I was in, school.
Yeah.
His
And
sitcom.
he has his new show out. That's on what am I trying to say? On NBC with his daughter, Lopez versus Lopez. Is his new sitcom. But yeah, it's been great working with him. But yeah, that's what I got going on this week.
Beautiful.
Are you in town, Dom?
Yeah, I'm here at the Laugh Factory on Saturday night, and it's the Comedy Store on Friday night.
Nice.
I'm gonna kill, and then crush. I forgot to crush him after I killed him.
Well, beautiful. Thanks for doing the show, Ruben. We'll
Thanks,
catch everyone next
Good to
week.
see you, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you guys, man.
Yep. All right. Bye.
All right.
Ditto.
Bye. Later,
Yo,
brother.
Dom, over here.
Bye.
Hey, Dom, hey.
Yo, Dom.